Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. 4 topics for this video. The first one, finally, the United States of America calls United Kingdom what it actually is, just a poser. And as I say, they live in an simulation. The United States of America, in this case, Mr. Witkoff, shows Great Britain's irrelevance on the world stage. He's going to talk about the United Kingdom's, summits and statements and imposing themselves as nobodies. But hey, that's the first topic. Second topic, the same United States of America's Middle East envoy, Mr. Witkoff, he's going to tell us what is the elephant in the room in the negotiations with Russia. Which one do you think it is? Is this elephant or is that elephant or what elephant? Well, I think we already know what the elephant in the room is over there. Then we find out that his concessions, or at least the United States of America's desire to bring an end to its side of the conflict, because it's not Ukraine versus Russia, it is the United States of America's interest versus Russia using vassal states, as they call it, a proxy war, is seen as a capitulation, making concessions to the Russians. Well, we'll analyze if the West is in a position to impose anything on Russia after 3 years of, I would say, failure. Why failure? Russia did not collapse, so that is Russia's victory. And the last topic for this video, we find out that Ukraine will hold elections. Well, probably the elections will be held sometime in the future, but let's analyze under what circumstances, or the probable circumstances. Let's start with the first topic. Here is Mr. Witkoff talking about Starmer. Starmer is the Prime Minister of, how do I call it, Opossum, Great Britain. Why is it United Kingdom the Opossum? I made a video yesterday explaining that United Kingdom appears aggressive and appears like an opossum, shows his teeth and all upset, and, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, but actually they play dead. They are very inoffensive. Why? They don't do anything directly, they use others. So it's an opossum. When I'm gonna see the United Kingdom right there in the arena fighting the Russians, then I will change from an opossum to, to a weasel. But until then, you're at the opossum level. All right, so let's go. Trump envoy discusses Starmer's plan for Ukraine. Sir, Keir Starmer, plan for an international force to support a ceasefire in Ukraine has been dismissed as, and I'm quoting, a posture and a pose by Donald Trump's special envoy. Steve Witkoff, Jewish, said the idea was based on a simplistic notion of the UK Prime Minister and the other European leaders thinking, and I'm quoting, we have all got to be like Winston Churchill. Do you mean like bankrupting an empire? So remember, Winston Churchill bankrupted Great Britain, lost its colonies, and he was not elected after the Second World War. So that means the British people figured him out. And on top of that, he won the war by losing half of Europe to the Soviets. That sounds like a victory. So, my friends, here is what Mr. Witkoff also has to say. In an interview with pro-Trump journalist, so this is BBC, all right? BBC is impartial, as I've been taught, but I realize it's not. In an interview with a pro-Trump journalist, Tucker Carlson, Witkoff praised Vladimir Putin, saying he liked the Russian president. And I'm quoting, I don't regard Putin as a bad guy, end quote. He's super smart. Witkoff, who met Putin 10 days ago, said the Russian president had been gracious and straight up with him. Well, that's the way they are, my friends. That's the way they are. That's the way it seems like Putin is, but we are supposed to hate Putin. Now, the United Kingdom is a poser, and that's about it, because they will not do anything. Remember in the White House when Keir Starmer, visited Trump And Trump, in front of everyone, asked him, so is Great Britain gonna take on Russia by yourselves? Are you gonna take on Russia by yourselves? I would like you to see Starmer's face, if you remember how he was smiling like a weasel and looking down in the floor, and that's right there. The emperor has no clothes. It's just an opossum. Rah, 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 rah. When it's to do something, plays dead. But has a very good network of spies around the world and pushes buttons. That's all it got at this point. Money, made up money, because it's a bankrupt country. It's just an island. I mean, please, what resources he's got. All right. But in pushes buttons in other countries, and with made up money and interest, is like a head office, a center where the information comes and from there orders go. That's what London, for instance, is. But other than that, if someone shows up at the shores of Great Britain, they can't even defend themselves. They're not Churchills. If they want to be Churchills, it's too late. He already did the job for them, bankrupted them. All right, let's go to the second topic. CNN. U.S. envoy says elephant in the room, quote unquote, in peace talks is whether Ukraine will cede occupied regions. So if Ukraine will give its territories, and Ukraine will give its territories, this guy. Now this guy, I said it and I will say it again, is going to be, or is the de facto United States Secretary of State. Like Blinkenstein, this is Mr. Witkoff Stein. Like Zelensky Stein, we have all Steins. But somehow this is a European matter. But we have not non-Europeans actually. No? Okay. So he said the elephant in the room. What's the elephant in the room? It's about the territories. This is what's going to be. They already said that the Crimea, it's out of the question, and the other 4 territories, 4 regions, he said. I made this a video on yesterday about this. The thing is, they could not take that back unless they're going to go full war against Russia. And remember, Russia has nuclear weapons. So it's a non-negotiable for the Russians, and it's undoable, non-doable by the other side. And maybe they don't want to get in this. Why would they sacrifice for what exactly? For Crimean Peninsula? They really don't need the Crimean Peninsula if you have Odessa, but I think they're going to lose Odessa anyway. Talk about the Ukrainians. So yes, this is the elephant in the room, but I think the root cause is not that. The root cause is NATO. That's why, because of NATO, we had what's going on in Ukraine right now. Just because of NATO. That's the main, that is the foundational sin, original sin. It's NATO expansion towards Russia. All right, and let's see how his brothers of Mr. Witkoff see Mr. Witkoff's statements. Remember, Mr. Witkoff, the Jewish envoy to the Middle East, how they analyze his statements. He's not talking just by himself, like, oh my God, this is what I think. He has an agenda, and the agenda was already set. So he's just, in fact, a parrot who has to manufacture consent in a certain way. He's a salesman right now. He doesn't make the agenda. The agenda is made in the White House, or maybe beyond with the White House. He's just over there and trying to be as eloquent as possible to, push a certain agenda to the people and explain others what's going on. He's not making policies. As I said, he's a salesman, and he's doing a good job because he knows the bazaar times. Here it is, Mr. Witkoff again. 3 articles with 3 Witkoffs. Witkoff's statements seen as concession to Kremlin ahead of peace talks. And this is said by the Institute for the Study of War. Now, we have here, please look at this anomaly. Institute for the Study of War, Witkoff and Zelensky. What do they have all in common? They're all Jewish. Now, this is a Ukraine-Russia issue, Europeans. If you put the North America, again, our settlers were coming from a certain kind of stock and they spoke a certain kind of language, therefore their documents in that language. Again, Europeans, however you want to, immigrants, okay, yeah, immigrants, all right, certain kind. So you have the Institute for the Study of War. Institute for the Study of War analyzes, so Institute for the Study of War, the director is Kimberly Kagan. She's Jewish. She's married with Mr. Kagan, whose brother who's also Jewish, whose brother, also Jewish, married with Victoria Nuland, also Jewish. So this is an Institute for the Study of War. It's a certain kind of enterprise. Now they talk about what another Jewish guy, Witkoff, said, about another Jewish guy, Zelensky, who's in charge of Ukraine, says. So you have a problem with a guy in charge of a nation, Zelensky Stein. We have a guy that is our envoy to talk to that guy, and we have the Institute for the Study of War promoted by Ukrainska Pravda. They're all the same. And they are shaping our view, and they are telling us who's who, what's what. I would like to see all those guys Zimbabweans. I want to see Institute for the Study of War being Zimbabwean. I want the US envoy into Middle East to be Zimbabwean and deal with Ukraine with a Zimbabwean president. I want that to happen. It ain't gonna happen ever. Sorry, my Zimbabwean friends. You won't even see that as French or as Romanians, as Hungarians. You see only one. I wonder why. And they always have this kind of, they make the news for you using their experts about their interests. What's going on here? But anyway, this is the way it is. And I'm not going to analyze here a concession to Kremlin. It's a reality. You don't have to make a, what do you want to do? You want to use the Europeans fighting the Europeans? You're out of it. Obviously, you don't care. You had the First World War and you had the Second World War. It's not your people, actually. Why would you care? Oh, I know, there. Hollywood, another entity, tells us that they are a little bit more, how should I put it, moral than you and I. All right, then that gets me to the last topic, which is again about Mr. Witkoff Stein. Russia Today. Ukraine will hold elections. Trump envoy. Both the US and Russia have questioned the legitimacy of Vladimir Zelensky, whose presidential term has expired last year. Ukraine will hold a presidential election. US President Donald Trump's Middle East envoy. But Middle East envoy, this guy, is dealing with Ukraine. Neither Ukraine nor Russia are in the Middle East. What the hell is he doing there? You know what. He's making sure that the eggs are going to hatch right. So he told the American journalist Tucker Carlson. Remember, this is journalist. The other guys are calling him pro-Russia, right? Where is that? I think the first one. Yeah. No, it was the Ukraine form. Pro-Russian American blogger. Now Tucker Carlson is an American blogger. Where's the other one? Pro-Russia. I don't find it anymore. I'm a baboon. What the hell? All right, pro-Trump journalist. Pro-Trump journalist. There you have it. So, here you have him. Vladimir Zelensky, 5-year term. I don't want to go over that. It's just that in February, Trump labeled Zelensky a dictator without elections. And when he was asked by Tucker Carlson if he thinks Ukraine will hold an election, he said yes. So this guy said yes because, and these guys are telling us what to think because we have Zelensky Stein on the other side. Nevertheless, he said yes, they've agreed to it. There will be elections in Ukraine in a very difficult position given that Russia has much larger population of nuclear weapons. Okay, there will be elections. Ukraine will not be independent. Ukraine will not be sovereign. Ukraine will be a sphere of influence, Russia's sphere of influence, with the United States of America backing off and making sure that it got some perks. So the United States of America tried to do something in Ukraine and to Russia. It failed, and now it just wants to cling to the last crumbs it can get out of this disaster. The Ukrainian people, disaster. And they will just say, we are actually the peacemakers. When I see Donald Trump, which is okay, he's his own man over there, supposedly, but he represents the United States of America being the president. When I see him and these guys hail the United States of America's peacekeeping mission, it's not peacekeeping mission, my friends. What these guys are doing are conceding they lost. And right now they try to negotiate the terms of losing the Russia fight. That's what it is. They are not a third party here. They are the party. Russia, United States of America. United States of America decided, and the Europeans, to use the Ukrainians against these guys. And now they're not the peacemakers coming in between the Ukrainians and the Russians. That's how they portray it. So you don't figure out that, hey, they lost the attempt. They're going to try differently, as I said. No, they were like the peacemakers. No, they are the ones who asked the Russians for concessions. We lost, but hey, give us the terms of our loss. That's what it is. It's not peace. When you see Trump is going to hold hands with Putin and meet with Putin, it's going to be losers versus winners. That's what it's going to be. It's not like we are making peace between Zelensky and Putin. That's not what it is. They will portray it as such, and they're the big peacemakers who actually were the initiators. How? NATO expansion, and then the coup in 2014, and then arming Ukraine and everything to Ukraine. How do you call that? Not initiators? Supporters, sponsors? They were the initiators because they got to Ukraine. Ukraine was supposed to be neutral. They, Victoria Nuland and CIA and others, helped the Ukrainians overthrow a legitimate government of Ukraine, democratically elected, 2014, Viktor Yanukovych. So what makes you? And then the next day, you recognize that traitors who overthrew a legitimate government. That's called treason. With the help of outside agency. That's called treason. However you want to twist it, it's called treason. You work within the system in America. If you think there was not treason, change the names. Put the United States of America and say you have the same kind of uprising, boom, 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 with the help of, let's say, China or Iran. And then Iran the next day says, I'm going to bring troops here. We won. The revolution was successful in Washington, D.C., let's say. Not the Maidan, in Washington, D.C. It's plain and clear. But these guys are still propagandizers the way they do. Why? Because they are their operatives. They're not media people. They're not journalists and editors and experts and all that. They're operatives. They know exactly what to say. Why? That's why they're promoted. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.